The class. We'll get started in a few minutes here. So good time to check your camera and check your equipment. If you're going to use hand weights, we'll need some hand weights. We will do a little bit of work with the chair and a little bit of work on the floor. Probably more work on the floor today, but also in a chair. And of course, there's always the option to stay in the chair. There's Meryl. Turned her camera on. Good morning.
Good morning. Find the group. Oh, there we are. Okay.
Yep. There you are. There you are.
We have no internet. We have no internet, so I'm using my tablet, which some reason has internet. The rest of the house doesn't. If you figure it out, let me know.
Yeah, I would be not the person to ask, but there you go.
And my husband thinks I've lost my mind.
Yeah. At least you're in. That is good. That is good.
That's all I care about.
Oh, and I see you have a third person here for exercise today. A third being. Yeah. Oh, third little kitty there. My little dog just went down the hall, probably looking for somebody to convince to give treats, probably. And that is not. I am not the big treat sucker. Those are my husband and my son. Actually, my husband. We all know. We sort of refer to him as the weak link.
That's what husbands do.
Yeah, weak link.
Sorry, Warren.
There's nothing. I don't know.
Where do you live in New York, Sarah?
We actually live on the Upper West Side, very close to Central Park, just off of 96th Street. So it's actually a very great good location in terms of transportation and.
You're not far from my family.
Really?
We have cousins on 72nd and 96 on Riverside Drive.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're right. Yeah, we're a little farther away from Riverside. We're closer to Central Park, but it's not far. Central Park is when we go to Riverside to go see the river, take the dog on walks and see what the flower gardens are doing. And then Central Park is right here. So Central Park, we're there all the time.
Yeah,
so,
my family's at 97th in York.
Where?
97th in York.
Oh, over there. Yeah, just across.
Across the other side.
Oh yeah. So here they're saying, be careful of personal details because these videos are streaming live. Oops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm listed in the phone book, so anybody can find me if they want.
Yeah, you go figure out which building they're in on that corner.
I told you, one of my class people actually brought me brownies. That was so amazing. I had no idea she knew where I lived.
Cool.
It was so cute. All right, we are going to get started, and I see some people are still showing up, so that's great. So we're going to start with the standing moves. Again, as always, if you need to be in the chair for any of these moves, you do that. And I'm going to start.
You broke my heart.
All right.
Because I couldn't dance.
We're just going to take some nice big stretches up
around.
And
now I'm
release.
back to let you know.
And then this again, we're taking this up, a little bit of a stretch up, and release. As you come up, you let yourself arch a little bit. As you go down, you press the stomach in and relax the back and forth. And down. And up. And down. 3 more. You're letting the arms really stretch the arm socket and release. And 2 more. And down. 1 more. Nice. Okay, so we're just going to start with a little movement. Hip, shoulder. Hip, shoulder. Let the hip go. I am moving my foot a little bit, but not a lot. Roll it side to side. Roll the shoulders. Roll the hips. Let the spine roll. If you can, you're trying to get that middle spine to roll. And 4, 3, 2, excellent. So I just have my feet wide. I'm not actually doing a lot of foot movement. 4 more. All right. Now, I'm going to move my feet a little bit. So just coming up on the ball of the foot here and rolling the leg. Good way to warm up the hip socket. Good. 4 more. Side step. Let the hips move a little bit. Good. Yep, and if you're in a chair, you can also move the hips as you swing it side to side. Yeah, that's good. So we're trying to get all of that lower body to move. Oh, Kathleen showed up. Very good. Hello. 4, 3. Here. Yeah. So again, we're just kind of doing some movement to warm up the body. Let the hips dance a little bit. Keep the knees bent. 4 more. Good. Yeah. Just a nice easy step. Arms in and out. Right here. Again, can be on a chair. Let yourself move the torso. Bounce the hips a little bit. Keep the knees slightly bent. Watch. Heel, toe, heel, toe, heel, toe. Now, you can do this in a chair, but I am trying to also move my butt. Good. Okay, feet, heel, toe, but I'm also moving the whole thigh, and the knee, and the back. Yeah, you can move your arms too. Good, march. Swing the arms. Now, I'm always trying to get people to use the whole arm, back and forth. Little momentum. Bounce the hip. Pick up the thighs. If you're going to do this in the chair, you can add lift like that and swing the arm. That's good. And if you're marching, all right, good. Feet down. Roll the neck.
You broke my heart.
Roll the neck.
'Cause I couldn't dance.
Keep your feet a little wide.
You didn't even
Arms
want
to
me
the side.
around. And now
Roll
I'm
the neck
back
the
to
other
let
way.
you know I
Good.
can really shake it down.
4 more. All right, hands to the center of the thighs. If you're sitting, you just get yourself back. Abs are tight. Up and down. Up and down. Let me see here, see my feet. Up and down. You're really stretching the back, releasing it. Up. You don't want to stand all the way up. You want to leave your hips back. Keeping your knees bent. Good. 2 more. 1 more. All right. Back to a march. Pick up the arms. If you're in a chair, you can go back to those knee lifts, or you can actually march from the chair. You can actually march, picking the thighs up and down. All right. Just doing a quick arm. If you really weren't warm, you could do it slower. Yeah. Good. Hands on the hips. Side step. Again, in the chair, you can do a side step, and you can actually swing the leg out a little bit. Swing. Can you make the hip move first? Good. So when I see this, but I don't see this, then I know you're not letting the hips start the movement. If you think of the hips as starting the movement, good. Up and back. Hands to the hips. Hips are back a little bit. Abs are tight. Arms. That's a little quick. If you need it to go slower, you can. Going quick will pump the heart rate a little more. And yes, you can do this in the chair. Totally can. Abs are tight. Very nice, everybody. All right. Feet a little wide. Stretch and tap. You're on the ball. This can be done even tapping the foot. And putting the hands on the shoulders when I'm not using them. Don't take the hand all the way down. Just put it on the shoulder. Makes it easy. Good. All right. Side step. Back to side arm. Good. Now take your feet a little wide. Take your butt. Take it down. Roll the arms. Get it it low. Shake your butt. Roll the arms. Roll more. 4, 3, 2. Very good. Using the arms, skip it out. Again, this is also just to let yourself up the heart rate by the use of the arms. If you're in a chair, you could be doing more lateral move in the torso. If you're standing, you can be too. All right, lift up. This is definitely going to be in the chair. Hands on the hips. This area, you want that to bounce a little bit. Bounce, bounce. Good. Let the arms swing if you wish. That's it. One arm forward, one arm back. Bounce the hip. Abs tight. Try to keep the knees a little bit open. Not across, a little bit open. Good. Bounce the hip. All right, side step. Arms up and over if you can. Let the hips move. Good. Very nice. Be a little wide. You can try this too, Meryl. Little right. Little right. Straighten out the arm. Straighten out the hip. Little right. Tiny. Feet are barely leaving the ground. Good. Play around with the arm movement. The higher the arm, the bigger the heart rate moves. The lower, the easier on the shoulders. All right, march. Now, if you wanted to, you can move that forward and back. Some of my gyms that go around in a circle. That's so you feel like you're going forward and back, around in a circle. Or not. Or not. Good. All right. Keep it out. Keep it out. Take the arm. Forward. Back. Back. Abs tight. If you want, you can go faster. 10. 9. Or 4. You can also be stretching, and that's a nice thing to do. 4 more. Good. All right. Little kicks. Now, again, that can be from the chair or from the ball, that you can roll your torso a little bit, pick up your leg and kick. Maybe not high. Good. Keep going, but I got to tell you, on some of you, I don't see the hip bouncing on the foot that's on the ground. Yes, thank you. Now I didn't have to call any names, because I just said that, and people started bouncing their hips. It's much healthier to bounce your hips, guys, than it's just to try and straighten up your knee and hip. 4, 3, 2. All right, take the arms here. Keep going. In, out. In, out. Pretend when you were a kid on the beach and you're showing off your arms. Kid on the beach, showing off your arms. While you bounce your hip and kick. Right, good. You're showing off your arms. Make a muscle. Right. 4 more. Good. Kick. Pretend you're kicking something or somebody. All right, take it down. Roll the shoulder, dance the hip. Okay, dance. Dance. Woo! Nice. Meryl, I'd really love to see you moving your torso a little more when I give you these dances. Yeah, because it's just going to be better on your back. 4 more. Yeah, it doesn't have to be fast. All right, with a little skip or a kick, arm. Now this is a move you can really push your heart rate if you want. How would I do that? You don't have to do as much as I was doing. But that will push your heart rate like crazy if you push the speed in the range of motion of the arm. Good. All right, hands on the hip bone and up and back. Now with this, you want the hips a little bit back. Abs tight. Good. Push, pull, push, pull. Push, pull, push, pull. That's fast. If that's part of your shoulders, go slower. Good. I'm looking for hip bounces. Ha ha ha. That works. I got a bunch of hip bouncers out of coming up to the camera. Good. Side step. Cute. Side step. Move your hips. And 4. Side step. Move your hips. Good. Smart. Now, if you were feeling really a little like you could even more push, you could do a little jog. You don't have to, but you could. Or more. I do want to see some kind of arm swing or just hands on the hip. I don't want to see tension in the shoulders. Nice, I love the circles. Some people are making circles. 4 more. Super good, you guys. All right. Feet a little wide. Dance the hips. Good. All right, you squat back, back, back. Now that's fast. If you need to go slower, you could. Remember from the squat, I want your eyes forward, not eyes down. Eyes forward. Look at your side of your room. Good. Nice. So you could go slower. If you're having trouble with it, you can just go slower and come up. That's fine. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. Super good. All right. Tap it out. Tap it out. Arms. This is just a stretch. I'm going to hop and hop and lift my thighs. Good. And it's more like that. Good. You need a recovery. Remember, you don't need to take your arms high. Good. All right. Feet a little bit apart. That's the hips. I'm going to bring my arms behind me so that I get to stretch back. And we're going to take it here. Right leg. Back. Down. Up. Left leg. Back. Feel the knee down. Up. So I want you to actually bend the knee. Dance the butt. And up. And take it back. Eyes forward. Look at the floor. And back. I'm just coming to watch. You step back. You bend the knee. You dance your butt. Then you come forward. And you do the other leg. I want to see the arms dancing. Or hands on the hips is fine too. Good. 2 more on each side. Look straight ahead, guys. Dance your hips. Last one. And tight. Where it says dancing hips. Oh, super good. All right, heel tap. Keep it up. 4 more. Good. All right. Feet a little bit apart. Toes forward. I have them actually slightly wider than my hips. Hands at the shoulders. Dance the hips. Tighten the abs. Squat. Back. Lift. Back. Lift. Back. Now remember, you just lift your butt up, off. You lift the thigh. I can do it. I don't even know how to do this. Good. Nice. Breathe. All right. Arms out. Up. Up. She said I'm gonna make it up right here in the 4 more. It smelled like turpentine. It looked like India. All right. Dance your hips. Turn your toes out. Heels in. Swing your hip. Dangerous curve. Outside. Take the arms. Pull down. Take it down. You can dance your hips a little bit. I don't want you moving your knee. Don't move your knee. Move your arms. Move your hips. It can be fast or slow. Good. Good. Keep looking at the camera. That's fine, Arnold. 4 more. I like what you're doing here. You got to use your arm, though. All right. All right. Up here. Up. 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 Hands on the shoulders. All right. Squeeze the abs. Bounce the hip where the foot is on the ground. When the foot is on the ground, bounce that hip. And then see how high you can get the thigh while your hip is bouncing. I don't know why I do this. It's really a good. All right. Kick. Swing it out. Or heel tap. If that's too much, just heel tap. Dance it out. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Up, down, up. Now, if you were really, really good at inversion work, you could go faster. I just don't want you to get woozy. So you go at your own rate. Bend your knees if you need it for your lower back, please. Bend your knees if you need it for your lower back. How low can you get that body? Nice. 4 more. Remember to check out looking straight ahead so you don't get like... 2 more if you've got it. Remember, when in doubt, just dance around. Dance around. Good. All right, side step. Yeah. Can you cha-cha? Cha-cha. If you don't know how to cha-cha, don't worry about it. You know how to cha-cha. I see that. Yeah. Remember, if you can't dance, just look like you know what you're doing. That always works. Good. Do the twist. Take it down. Do the twist. How low can you go in the twist? Yeah. 4 more. Twist it down. Twist it up. 3 more. 2 more. That's good. 1 more. All right. Heels and shoulders. Move the spine. Get yourself some water while you're moving and get a set of weights. These can be light, they can be heavy. I just don't want it so heavy you can't lift it overhead. When you're back, after you get your water, after you get your weights, if you're not using weights, you pretend. Heel tap. Get the water, you drink some water because that's important. When you heel tap, both hips bounce. Abs are tight. We're going to talk about abs again. Shocking. You want to squeeze the muscle in between your legs up into the torso and still let the hip bounce. That's the low wall of the stomach, the low wall of the torso. Palms are forward. Chest muscle is open. Top of the head is lifting towards the ceiling. So there's a lot of stretch. Up, down. It's a simple move. I just want it up to the armpit and down. Keep watching. Okay, I see a few people moving their foot without letting the hip bounce. Basically, if you feel your butt bouncing, that's right. Now you got 2 buttocks that should be bouncing. That's right. All right. Feet here. Weights here. Palms facing each other. Squat. Up. Squat. Now this could also be a leg lift now. Between the overhead. Abs tight. Keep the abs tight. When you squat, I want to see your chest up. That's why I want the weight at the top of the shoulders. Weight at the top of the shoulders. Right. I'm looking. Yeah. If you're looking at the teacher, you're getting points. Good. All right, weights down. Up by your side. Let the hip bounce. Tighten up the low abs. And kick. Keep the bounce. Kick can be low. The kick can be high. The kick has to be bouncing while you kick. Weights are in your hand by the side of your thigh. Yeah, I knew I didn't say that very well. Sometimes I make mistakes with my language. 4 more. Good. All right. Take it here. Back, roll, down, up. That's hips back, roll. Now, you can do that with your feet wide. And up. Every time, stand up. The hips go back, the abs tighten. And and you bend the knees a little bit. The hands go to the side of the knees, side of the hips, side of the knees, and just by the side of the thigh. Abs are tight. Good. Nice and tight. All right. Up and back. Now, take that to the butt. Take the hips back a little bit. Make sure that hip joint is bouncing. Nice. Abs are tight. Bring it back. 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 That's pretty good. Eyes on the teacher. Well, yeah, Mary, you're doing an incline, so that's the eyes on the teacher for you. Four more. Meryl, you can take the arms farther back. I think so. Yeah, that's it. Ruth, I just need a little more hip bounce, honey. Oh, Kathleen, it was a very small goat. And 3 more. 2 more. All right. Take it here. Back. Palms out, arms long, chest open. The legs can go to the side. And to hip. Up. That's a good stance. Remember, if you need a break from the weight or from the movement, just put the weights down and dance around or get some water and then come back. Nice job. Ruth, awesome hip. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, you get more into the dancing, you're going to get this right. Yeah. Woohoo! That's very cute. 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. All right. Watch, please. Feet together, knees together. Weights by the side. Squat, lift, up, down. And keeping my chest up. Don't look at the floor, please. You don't want to look at the teacher, at least look at your wall, not the floor. That's too tight of lower back. Go slower. Eyes up. Yes, you can always dance. Always can dance. Okay, no looking at the floor. People, if you see your floor, that is looking at the floor. People, look at the teacher or the wall. 2 more. Very nice. Waist to side, feet wide. Roll the shoulders. You don't even have to move your feet. You can move the hips more with the feet down. And then if you keep the feet on the ground, you should be able to get a bigger stretch across the tailbone, across the back. And that's good. And then at the same time, arms down and really roll the shoulders. See if you can bring your shoulder up to your earlobe. Ah, that should feel good. Feet wider on just your feet wider. And then bend your knees more so you get more of this part of your back. Yeah, like that. Like that. Good. All right. Feet right here. Waist in front of your thighs. Chest is open. Do not look at your floor. Look at the corner of your wall. Down and up. Keep your knees flexible. Let your butt go back. Keep your chest open. Don't look down at the floor. You look at the bottom of your wall. Now, if you can't get really low without back collapsing, then just don't go that low. If you have a back issue, you can just put your weight down and down. Nice. Very good, everybody. Keep the head, not under. Right. 1 more. All right. That was super good. All right. Little bit down. Create position. Take the legs out. Weights on the thigh. Open, back, forward, up. So I just create position. I put the weight on the thighs. Open, straight back, hip forward, up. Don't look down, people. Look at me. Okay, here's what I'm seeing that I'm objecting to. No. Eyes up, chest up. Right. I don't know where your chest is, people. Breathing. Practice breathing. There we go. That worked. 4. 2 more. right. Weights on the hip bones. Top of the hip bones. So this is where you're just resting the weights here. Now this is the weirdest move ever because there's that ghost again. Up, 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 up. Oh, are you joining my class? Excellent. Excellent. Oh no, now we went off camera. Hey, hey, hey. And 3 more. 2 more. All right, feet here, hands at the hip bones or water bottles. Put the hips back, out. Just a tricep extension. Now in order to keep the back open, you bend the knees, you push the hips back, and if you want, dance your butt. If you can dance your butt in this position, you will keep your back open. Dance your butt. One cheek, one cheek, one cheek, one cheek. Very good. It just keeps the shoulders from over tightening. All right, nice. All the way up. Crunch and lift. Just put the weight on the top of the shoulder. Now, can you take the thigh a little bit outside your hip bone? Not to the side, but just in front of your hip bone. Let's see. Yeah, Meryl, you can do that. I bet you can get that thigh higher, Meryl. I bet. Yeah, see, you did it. 4 more. Okay, many big points for many people. Phyllis and Warren, those are great lifts. And 4 more. 3 more. 2 more. All right, you guys. Take the weights right in front of your thighs. Plie position. Palms facing the thigh. And up. Up. I'm lifting the arm, but not the shoulder. See, the hands are going to the armpits, but the arm is lifting up. Abs are tight. It's called an upright row. Here's what I don't want. I don't want your elbows under the weight. I want your elbows above the weight. That's it. This makes me think of Willie Coyote blowing up the dynamite against Roadrunner. All right. Hands, weights on the thigh. Really dance it. Move your hips side to side. Stretch. 8 more. That's good. 4 more. Nice. 2 more. All right. Little side step and dance. We're going to put the weights aside. Get some water. Now this can be done in a chair if this is very tiring for you, or you can do it standing. I'm going to take my hands to my shoulders. I'm going to take it way up. Now, I'm going leg first, and then I'm just tapping that leg. Don't look at the leg, look straight ahead. Okay, so maybe just a little wider, and the standing hip still needs to dance. There's no weight. Oh, big points for Jana. That is an excellent swing of the leg. Big point. And I know everybody's very excited about my point. Yep. Arnold, where's that leg? Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, he just wanted it. That's okay. All right. Let's dance. 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 Dance around your living room. Pretend you're going to dance and you're a little crazy. Go crazy. Dance, dance, dance. Yes, you can chop chop. All right, you guys. Standing now. Meryl, you have to do it from the side. From the side. Back. Back. So you have to take the torso forward and the leg back. What am I doing? I'm tightening up my tummy. I'm swinging my torso and my leg. I'm swinging my torso and my leg. Right. Right. Nadine, that's awesome. Just keep your hip bouncing a little bit. Little dance while you're doing that. I know. Ruth, you can take your torso more forward. Your leg more back. You're not going to fall. All right. Dance it out, guys. Dance it out. Move your spine. your arms. Good. All right. Back to a little side step. This girl can be on her ball. I want her to start picking up the thighs up and down. And you guys too. Up and down. So when you side step, can you get your foot to leave the ground a little bit because you lift your thigh? Yes, Jana, that's it. That's a little overkill, but I accept it. Good. Oh! Kathleen! I'm so amused, honey. Don't let him do it as long as he's not in your way. All right, very good. Feet wide, PA. Dance it out. Where's that flying boy? Come back here and do this. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys. Can you take the hip down to the ankle? I don't know. Let's see. Can you take your hip down to your ankle? Oh! Keep your chest up. Keep your chest up. Show off your cleavage while you do that. Oh, very good. I think I can see you when he goes down, Kathleen. You look good. 3 more. What he said. Let's see, Jana. That's pretty good. Jana, just keep your chest up and get the hips to go back. Yeah, and bring your arms swing around more. Yes! Yes, I like your side to side. That's good. 2 more if you got it. Oh, so good. All right, give it out. Give it out. Now remember, this could be just a simple skip, or a kick, or if you were feeling wild and crazy, what else could it be? Jumping jack. Jumping jack. If you're not feeling wild and crazy, don't do that. 4 more. I knew he would. Good. All right, guys, feet a little wide. Stand. Now, you're going to come up on the right foot with the heel way up in the air. Okay? Feet are about hip distance or a little wider. Keep that heel up. Take it down. Dance it up. Now, here's the thing. Can you keep your hip moving? Can you keep that foot way up on the toe? Like you got one high heel on. And then take those hips way down. And then come back up. You don't have to stay there. Oh, I like your arm. Woo! One high heel. Come on, guys. 3 more. Yeah. Abs tighter on several of them. I can see your abs. Okay, there. All right. Heel tap. Arms in and out. And skip it out. Dance it out. Do the stretch. Have to do the other side. Be a little wide. Heel up. Dance. Now see, what I'm doing is I'm tightening up and I'm relaxing and letting my arms slightly behind so that when I go down, my chest is stretched. When you keep the arms tight, then you can't get that stretch. So the more weird your arms are, the better. And then come back up. So if you don't get there, then the next one you ride. Yeah. Oh, we're going to teach him a twist. Teach him this way. Teach him this way. All right, 5 steps. Stand here. Good, you guys. Get your water. Get your water. Get your chair. We're only going to do a little bit of chair. Then we're going to the floor. Now, if I want to try something, step here on the chair.
Music a little lower. I don't
Okay.
hear this.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Yeah, although, all right, that's fine. We're not doing quite as much dancing now. All right, but you should still be dancing. In the chair. Now, hips towards the front of the chair.
You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain.
Leg up.
Twist.
I'm going to look right at you guys, and I want you looking back. Front. Leg comes up first. Then the twist. It's like the twist, but it's different. Good. Look at me. Front and look. 4 more. Oh, did you get a chair? Excellent. Oh, he's got a snack. 4 more. 3 more. All right, now I'm going to show you the next move. You're going to do it this way. Front. Front. Now, if you have a little bit of difficulty with the balance, then you do one leg and the other, or both. Front. Now, if you're doing bubbles and you start to feel your back tighten up, go back to the 1. The crunch is not the shoulders, it's the stomach. And it's 2 double legs. Start to feel the back, you need to take a stretch. Right? Good? Go back to good. Now, keep on. Now, crunch and lift. Crunch and lift. Watch, look at me. Crunch and lift. Leg lifts, but you punch the side of the waist, not the shoulders. Chest is open. Cleavage is open. Get that thigh up first, then the side of the waist. 4 more. Nice, you guys. 2 more. All right, now, sitting here, very tall. Right leg. Crunch and lift. Crunch and lift. Crunch of the stomach. 1 foot on the ground. Crunch and lift. Lift that leg, it's going to get tired. Crunch and lift. The back gets tired, take a stretch. Everybody keep down. 5. Stretch it out. We're just doing a few of these. I told you we're going to do just a little bit in the chair, and then we're going to go to the floor. If you want to stay in the chair, then you have to modify your moves for what we're doing on the floor. All right. I've got my hips towards the front of the chair, hands on the shoulders, but the other leg up. You'll notice I'm not super straightening. I'm leaving it a little bit bent. Crunch and lift. Crunch and lift. The crunch of the stomach. I'm not lifting my foot, I'm lifting my thigh. So when the foot goes up and down, that's not quite it. 8 more. Nice. Nice. Yes, I see you guys doing it pretty well. Breathe. Okay, so this is a crunch without the twist. 4 more. 4. Too hard. 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. All right, feet on the ground. Take this all the way up. Stand it up if you can. And down. Then stretch it forward. Arm up. If you can't stand up, okay, you're just doing these stretches. Sit down, stretch it back. Stand it up. And if this is easy, then you go a little faster. Right. 4 more. You don't want to do the standing, that's fine. Try to take your feet a little wider. Yeah, that's just better for your lower back. Good girl. Good, beautiful. Take your arms wider when you get up there. Wider hands. Now look at your ceiling. Check out your ceiling. 3 more, so good. Stretch up arch. Yeah. 1 more. All right, you guys, take a moment to sit in the chair. Sit in the chair. And I'm just taking the music, the fun music down. Woo. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're taking this right here. We're going to take the shoulder here. I'm going to take this arm on the inside of the thigh. I'm going to pull this arm behind me. My legs are super wide. And I'm going to rotate and get my center of my chest down by the knee. Pull with this hand and pull this arm behind me to pull the shoulder blade back. Tighten your abs. I know you're shocked by that. Relax the neck. All right, coming up. This is going to go here on the inside and around. What we're really doing is squeezing the abs and pulling the spine down and then putting the shoulder by the knee and the other arm goes back. Now you don't have to twist your head. You could actually just look right down at your shoe or you can turn it a little bit. But what we're really trying to do is get the arm up behind you and then come all the way up, all the way up. We're going to just stretch up for a moment, and I'm taking my hands together. If it's easier to take them apart, that's fine. And just stretch up and get as much stretch on the front of the tummy as you can, and look at your ceiling and breathe and lengthen that spine. And if you're having a hard time with arms overhead, just take them a lot wider, because where the hands are isn't as important as what the shoulders are doing. And release. All right, you guys, we're going to get our water. We're going to take it to the floor. If you're not going to the floor, that's fine. You can stay where you are if you're on the chair. If you're going to use weights, get the weights. So we're going to use some, you can use heavier weights on this one, this first moves here, if you wish. But the very first thing we're doing is transitioning to the floor and stretching the back. So if you're staying in the chair, you're continuing to stretch your back. We just did one of those stretches right here. And another stretch for the back in the chair would just be upside down and really letting the back stretch to the floor. If you're on the floor or on a bed, which is also an option, you're just going to first start with the yoga cat-cow, which is hands and knees making a box under your shoulders and your hips. And then the spine goes up like a camel or a black cat at Halloween, and then down. And you want to keep your elbows and your hands relaxed. And when you lift the back up and drop the head, you try not to pull too much with the shoulders, because adding the shoulders does absolutely nothing for the back. So you're just really working on trying to stretch the spine. And then when you get the upper shoulders separated up here, the shoulder wall, you just drop your head. That's a nice stretch for the neck. I recommend breathing. And I recommend starting and working with the low abs between the legs and into the pelvic bone really throughout this movement. Now, after you've done about 8 or 9 of those, or any way you're stretching the back, then I do want these stretches where you take it forward and stretch, and then you take it back. And you can always stay in this stretch a little longer, because this is a terrific stretch for the lower back. Or you can do a full downward upward dog if you are a person who practices yoga or understands the plank and how that works with the down dog and the up dog. So those are choices you can make there. They certainly can be from your knees, and all of them should be stretches.
So it's okay to do plank on our knees?
Yes, I am a big fan of doing plank where you can do it.
Okay.
I believe in, where can you do it? That's it. That's where you do it. Yeah, you can plank on your knees. You can do down dog, up dog on your knees. It isn't called that, but if it's on your knees, but I call it that. It's the same thing. Are you asking me another question, honey? Because you've got the mute on. So, so I missed all that. So you would have to unmute.
Sorry. I meant to say on your elbows. Can you do plank on your elbows?
Yes. Those are also planks. Those are planks. And we have a puppy here. We have a puppy. No, just sleeping. Okay, so yes, planking on your knees, planking on your elbows, all of that is fine. All right, you guys, I'm going to ask you, because we're needing to move on, to roll over onto your backs. Now, when we get to the roll over onto the backs, I'm giving you some options. If you have a bad back, or you're really feeling any pain or just discomfort, you certainly can just roll onto your back and then take some time to stretch your hips and legs. If you don't have a bad back, or if you're feeling fairly flexible, the Pilates roll is great. You just drop the chin, roll yourself down to the floor, and then you just try to reverse that. Drop the chin, roll back up. Try not to use the shoulders. Yes, you must use the stomach. This is more about flexibility than it is about stomach strength. So if you have trouble with this, don't feel like you're not strong. It really has a little bit more to do with what your flexibility and coordination in your flexibility is. Another option for getting to stretch on the floor and getting your back adjusted is to just grab the back of the legs and roll like a baby in a crib. And that's just a nice way to open up the vertebrae if that's comfortable for you. And by the way, that's really nice on a bed. That's really nice on a bed, that little roll there. So if you can do that one, that's great. If the one you should be doing is you down on the ground stretching, this is what you're doing, and you're doing it understanding that I want you to do that. All right, so for everybody, whatever you're doing, let's get the weights. Now, these can be heavy weights, or they can be light weights, or they can be no weights at all. And if you're in a chair, you're going to be sitting on the top of the chair, stretching the spine up, and still doing approximately a chest press, which is where the hands start right at the armpits and go up and back. So one of the things I'm going to have my knees bent. Before I start the chest presses, I'm going to really squeeze my low abs. And as always, when I'm talking about low abs, I'm talking about the muscle that's between the legs going up into your low privates, is the only way I know, polite society to say, and then pulling in the muscle just below the belly button, just a little sucking in below the belly button. And that does not mean that you have to pelvic tilt. But if you are tight in the lower back, I give you permission to pelvic tilt, which just stretches the back more. And we're just doing a simple chest press here. So the thing about the chest press with weights is that do not push your shoulders off the ground. That's an extra part of the movement. It's an extra, the shoulders are working extra, and that's not really a chest press. So if you're sitting and trying to do this, you may get very, very tired in the upper shoulder quickly, in which case I would like you to take a stretch because if you're sitting, you have to provide the balance and alignment of the spine against gravity much harder than us lying on the ground. So you need more stretches. I'm going to have you do about 4 more chest presses. Now, we're not doing anything with the lower body except working on the ab connection, which is the squeezing of between the legs and that little bit of sucking in. All right, so now with this, I just want you to put the weights down, whatever weights they were. And we were doing abs in the chair where we were crunching and moving our legs up, where we're lifting up and crunching, both rotating and straight crunching. This is the same move, but it's on the ground. So you can continue it in the chair, Meryl, or you can do your own thing if you want. We're going to bring the legs up. And I actually love for people to learn to do this with the thighs pulled into the ribs and the feet up. Because what happens with most people, if they let their feet fall, they're letting the feet drag the knees. So that's not as much abs as they could get. So you sort of pretend like you got pedals, like you're going to push pedals, or, it's got a little resistance in the bottom of the foot. And I'm not doing the crunch yet. I'm just pulling the legs back and forth. Now, you can actually work your abs with just legs and crunching your stomach. I got my head, neck, and shoulders on the ground right now. And I'm going a little slow because abs is always better slow. And I'm pretending that I'm pushing and pulling the air with my bottom of my feet a little bit and trying to get one thigh into my rib cage. Okay. Now I'm going to add a crunch, which is just a crunch of the stomach, barely lifting the head, neck, and shoulders off the ground. I'm actually going to put my hands behind my head and rest my head back in my hands. Now, if at any time your neck and shoulder starts to bother you, you can always put the head down. I am not twisting. I am just doing a center crunch, and I'm still trying to make most of this movement about the legs. Now, I happen to be strong enough that I could take these legs pretty low over the floor without disturbing my lower back. That being said, this up here towards the ceiling at a little angle is actually very effective for the abs because it's got a little bit more placement of flexibility for the hips. And 4 more. Whew. If you're really using your abs, they should be burning. If your neck is doing most of the work, you may need to put your neck down, take a break, and come back up and see if you can get it in the abs, meaning the low stomach. All right, everybody put your head down, put your legs down, take a nice long stretch. I'm gonna have you take your arms up long and wide and the legs a little bit wide, like I'm making kind of an upside down V here with my legs and lightly arching my back. This is a good way to stretch the tummy. And then I'm just going to roll the hips a little bit side to side, roll the hips a little bit side to side. Good. Now putting the feet on the ground, I'm going to bring the weights back for flies. Now this, Meryl, you may want to do these without weights because flies sitting up is very tricky. All right, so you want to do the movement of that wide stretch and then bring it. They can do this with very light weights, but it surely gets tired very quickly. Which if you're, so you've got the weights over the chest. Now I'm going to have those of you on the floor add a pelvic tilt, movement of a pelvic tilt or a bridge. And if you're flexible enough to do a high bridge, that's okay. But I always want you to start a bridge with a tiny pelvic tilt right on the ground first, where you make sure you're engaging your abs and the bottom of your buttocks. And then when you start to lift, what is lifting you is actually more the butt and the thighs, and not too much the lower back. Now you'll see if you're able to watch me that I'm going a little slow. And that's because I want to feel all that ab work, and I want to make sure my knees aren't doing anything, sort of checking everything on my body. This is another thing I like to work with people, that you understand how things are supposed to feel. So if this is starting to tighten up your lower back, you would literally put this down lower to the ground and do a smaller pelvic tilt, because that pelvic tilt will stretch the lower back and tighten your abs. If you're in a chair, you could be doing pelvic tilts by just lifting your hands and lifting your hips up off the ground a little bit to do a pelvic tilt and then putting it back down. That's a little bit tricky because you don't want to use your shoulders, but it is a possibility if you were doing pelvic tilts standing. And 2 more of these. And 1 more. All right, good. So we're just going to put the weights down and take 1 more of those stretches. And again, if you're in a chair, you can do an arch stretch. You can reach up. You can push up towards the ceiling with the chest and eyes and letting the hips stretch. And if you're lying on the ground, you can actually roll your hips a little bit side to side. Okay, so even sitting in a chair here, we tried to show you guys this last week. We're going to take you can really roll, because one of the things I'm a little concerned about, I know in LA you guys have nicer weather and maybe not as many opportunities to walk around as we have in New York, because that's what we do here is walk around. When you don't walk a lot, what really gets tight is where the bones of the thighs connect to the hips. So I'm doing this on the ground. I'm rolling to one side, rolling to the side. You can do this sitting, and you can also be rolling your shoulders sitting, but we need the sockets where the bones go into the bone, the shoulders and the hips, to have more flexibility. All right, so I'm just going to have, if you're on the floor, I'm going to have you bring your thighs up, knees up, feet up, and hands around the outside of the thighs. If you're in a chair, you're reversing. You're sitting and stretching down, you can, and letting that hang down to the floor and letting the back stretch with gravity. All right, because this is the back stretch for the lower back. And then roll it. Good, good. All right, I want you to stretch one leg in and up, and then take that across the body and then out to the side. Can you do that in a chair? You actually kind of can. It takes, you want to use, if you're sitting in a chair, you kind of want to pull it up and really try to move that thigh out to the side and across like this. Right, because this is, again, a movement that we don't do very much, right? Using the thighs in these ways, unless you're a horseback rider or a rollerblader maybe. Even then, rollerbladers don't usually take it that high. And then just go ahead and change that to the other leg. If you are sitting and doing these stretches, again, you may need to do what I refer to as inversion stretching, which just means down, down, because you want to take that pressure off of the lower back. And if you're sitting, you want to hold it up, sit tall, and move it out to the side and across. And you can use your hands to hold that. And if you're on the floor, yeah, you can roll that. But if you're on the floor, the other foot can be on the floor, which is really safer, because then you can stretch the hips and the middle back and the connection on the back of the legs. All right, wherever you are, we're going to take a moment to just relax, either in the chair or on the bed or on the floor. And what I want you to do now is bring your hands to the side of the hips, a little bit away from the side of the hips. One of the things about this, you don't want the limbs touching the body. You can have knees bent, feet on the ground if that's better for your lower back, or you just let the legs stretch out on the ground. And if you're sitting in a chair or on a ball, you want to try and find the position that's the most supported for the hips and the easiest for the back to sustain in a sitting position. And everybody just take a moment to close your eyes. And when we get to this part, one of the reasons I'm wanting you to close your eyes is because I want us to practice where I give you an instruction, you try to automatically feel what that instruction is doing in the body and how your body is feeling in response to it. So if you have your eyes closed, it just makes it easier to be really only focusing with the brain and the body, because the eyes give us a different kind of, it was just the sensory system. So you're just responding with your senses of your nerve endings. I'm going to give you the instruction to take in some gentle breaths. And at the same time, you're taking in those gentle breaths, inhale and exhale, which does not have to be fast. I want you to see if you can relax and release your breathing apparatus, which means your throat, your face, your lungs. And you're doing as little as necessary with that breathing apparatus so that the lungs they work very well by themselves with the diaphragm, but you don't have to have a lot of effort with those breathing apparatuses. Now, as you focus on just letting the breathing be gentle and with as little energy as is needed, sort of as much energy as needed, as little energy as needed, with your eyes closed, I want you to relax the muscles of the face, jaw, forehead, eyebrows, tongue. Here's an instruction to see how this feels. Let your head rest heavy on the ground, or if you're in a chair, see if you can feel a little stretch from the back of your ear where the glasses sit to the top of your shoulders. Gently inhale, and as you exhale, release the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, the small of the back. And having done this very simple, easy check-in, allow yourself to rest. The instruction is to rest. You let the breathing be easy. Any part of the body that speaks to you from now on and says tension or discomfort, just notice it, and on the next exhale, see if that exhale can help release that sensation or not. Inhale, filling yourself with a sense of calm. Exhale, sending away exhaustion and stress. This is a gentle in and out, practicing being with our body responses. Inhale, filling yourself with a gentle energy as you think to start maybe the movements of your day. And as you exhale, allow yourself to give yourself a moment of congratulations for continuing to take care of yourself. That's a big process. We have to recommit to that, taking care of ourselves every day. And as you rest and give yourself that moment of congratulation, visualize yourself in your heart chakra and in your mind, and visualize yourself as healthy, strong, balanced, flexible, capable, perfect. Now I'm giving you the official end of class. You could stay there and nap if you wanted. You could start increasing your breathing a bit to send in a little more oxygen. You could move your fingers, you could move your neck, you could move your shoulders, you start to wake up your body. Or as I said, you could just stay there and take a nap. This is your house, you can do what you want. Please have a terrific rest of your day. Drink water. Thank you. Drink water, even though you might not feel completely exhausted, but you could be dehydrated. So you always want to be drinking water. I'm sure you people know that as much as I do. And have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time.
Thank you,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yes,
This was
you're very
wonderful.
welcome.
Sarah,
Nice